You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright. The kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.
Hey there, welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Josh Vietti. This is Gennaro Hernandez. Today, filling in for Nicole. And we have Pastor Ron Vietti, we have Vincent Sierra, and we are the Off the Mountain crew. You know, I was thinking about how this podcast started. We do a men's retreat every year up at Big Bear. And I remember just having that conversation that we've had many times where the things that happen up on the mountain are amazing. And then you come off the mountain, right? Then when you come off the mountain, real life hits. And you know, you have all kinds of burdens, financial burdens. You have, marital burdens. You have kids, you have job, all sorts of different things. And so we started this podcast to kind of talk about that and how to just ease life a little bit. And this is tax week this week, and I know a lot of us are stressed out about finances. A lot of us are stressed out about, where your job is taking you and where the country's going, maybe where the world is going. You know, we think of all kinds of different things. And I just want you all to know that we're all in the same boat. Mm-hmm. And I think that brings comfort in knowing that we're all trying to figure things out together. And we've learned a few things along the way. And we want to share with you what we've learned, but we also would like to hear from you guys. You know, let us know if there's any types of tips or any thoughts or any topics you'd like us to cover.
There's a couple people that got a hold of me this week, and I really appreciated it to talk about the podcast. And going back to what you said, Josh, I've always wanted to do a podcast the last 2 or 3 years. And anyway, we did it. We did a few shows, and I thought, this has been fun. Let's go on to something else. Then we found out we were having a little bit of success. And we started looking at ourselves coming up with some polls in Nevada and California. We thought, whoa, maybe we need to just keep doing this. And so it's been a fun ride. And we're just too short of 100?
This is the 100th
This is the 100th today?
Oh, wow.
We should have had trumpets. We should have had cymbals. We should have had...
I guess I should have let you guys know.
Oh, wow.
Earlier.
Today's the 100th. Well, wow.
I'm
honored.
This is the 100th
Oh,
episode.
congratulations to us.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We should have a cake.
Yeah, there you go.
Man.
I tell you, I've had a sweet tooth lately. I'd eat the whole cake today. But real quickly, I like to start these differently. I like to, before we get into the stress thing, which I don't think we finished last week, I'm still running into all kinds of people that are having a hard time sleeping at night. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is I was speaking to one today before I came here. He said, let me tell you what my doctor said. I said, see if I can't guess what your doctor said. And I had every one of her points. I had every one of them. I said, I tell people all the time, stop drinking water after 5 or 6. Don't drink anything for those that are having a hard time with sleep. Because when you get up, that's when your sleep gets disturbed. Mm-hmm. And of course, turn off the internet, the blue light. Don't look at it 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep. And a big mistake people are making is they lose sleep one night, so they go take a long nap that day to try to make up for it. Mm-hmm. You can't make up for it. Now you've really messed things up.
Well, and then there's those who can't afford to take a nap. So what they do is, like I'm doing right now, this is not the best example right now, but I'm going to share with you my faults as well, is you caffeinate yourself. You have a lot of caffeine, mm-hmm. and I think one of the biggest issues that we have in life right now is people talk about time management. I say energy management, man. Like mm-hmm. you have to, don't take too much. Don't take on too much.
That caffeine, for a lot of people out there, that's what's messing their sleep up.
That's what I'm saying.
And they don't get it.
But what happens is it's a cycle, right? It's like you don't sleep well.
Right.
Next day you have way too much to do. You're okay, well, how am I going to get through today? Well, I schedule my caffeine. I'm like coffee in the morning, some sort of like
right.
tea or energy
mm-hmm.
drink in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I'll go do it a third time. It's like, well, here's the third round of caffeine because I have work to do tonight, until I fall asleep. And
mm-hmm.
and it's just too much. And I'm going through a thing right now where I'm like, I need to go back and reprioritize. Like I need to look at all the things that I'm doing and ask myself, what is it that I'm doing right now in life that isn't necessary? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's kind of good, or maybe somebody else wants us to do it, but it's not necessary, And I think it's okay to say no. And I think
Well,
that's where I'm at.
sometimes we have to say no more often. But caffeine, I was in a Starbucks a while back, and I think I already mentioned this. But I was fixing to order, and I was looking at my clock to see what time it was. And the girl said, "What are you doing? You checking your time?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Why?" And I started asking about decaffeinated, and I said, "Because if I take caffeine after a certain time, I won't sleep." She goes, "Really?" Said, "I'm having a hard time sleeping, and I drink caffeine all the way up till 10 at night." I said, "Well, that's your problem."
Well, people don't realize too that like caffeine peaks about 2 to 3 hours after you consume it.
Right.
So it takes time.
And sometimes it stays 10, 12 hours in your system, too.
Can, yeah.
And so, I don't take caffeine now after, 10 o'clock in the morning would be the latest. Sunlight, they say 20 minutes of sunlight a day. What it does is it decreases your daytime melatonin. And it really does something to your circadian rhythm and your internal clock.
Is it a good thing?
Yeah, because you don't want to be sleepy during the daytime. And this sunlight, it decreases, I believe, daytime melatonin. And then at night, you're more in a groove. You're ready to go to sleep.
I've been thinking too, like if you don't exercise, that's a problem too. A lot of people don't exercise daily. I've been trying to do more often, but it's hard. It's hard to find that time, but it's important because that's also a way to deplete your body energy, right, to the point where you are tired at night. I've been thinking about Jesus a lot and the disciples and how they walked everywhere they went. Like if you were to think about the amount of time Jesus spent doing things, most of it was walking with his disciples.
Yeah, what a way to go. And I got a funny story about that because one day I was in the health food store and I told your mother I got a sweet tooth today, and I brought these dates and figs. I said, "Man, these dates, oh man, that satisfies my sweet tooth." And she said, "But Ron, sugar." I said, "Debbie, it's biblical." I said, "Jesus and the disciples, they ate a lot of figs and dates, I think." She says, "Yeah, but they walked everywhere they went. You sat on the couch all day."
Right.
Too big issue here.
No, I'm just saying if you walked everywhere, like these guys walked sometimes 80 miles a day,
Did they walk that far?
They could have.
80?
Yeah.
That's a lot of miles with flip-flops on.
I think we're gonna fact check
I'm going to
you on
fact
this
check that one. I'm going to fact check
80
that
miles
one.
80 miles.
Oh, wait,
a
maybe
day.
that was wolves. All right. So
I think you got them mixed up.
I read a lot of things. I'm like,
80 miles a day. That's
no, okay.
That's a lot of walking.
Okay, so
friend.
maybe not 80 miles.
These guys were doing CrossFit in biblical times.
I'll correct myself. That not 80 miles a day.
They might have.
They might have, but the distance between, I was thinking about the distance between Galilee and Jerusalem,
Right.
and they walked that at least once a year, and maybe more often. It seems like Jesus and his disciples did it more often, right? Like you see multiple stories in the Bible where they're in Jerusalem and then they're in Galilee. That's like a couple hundred miles, right? That's a long ways.
I'm going to do a lot of fact checking after this broadcast.
Well, I mean, no.
I'm not going to argue that with you.
When we go to Israel, right?
Yeah.
If you go right now to Google, you can fact check this. Okay, Gennaro fact checked me yesterday, and I was correct. You can type in Tiberias, which is on the Sea of Galilee, which is one of the places that is close to where Jesus did his ministry, and directions from there to Jerusalem, and it'll come back and it'll say somewhere in the
that's
100.
quite a long ways. We made that trip many times.
Somewhere in the 175 kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay, fact check it. 170, 180, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Kilometers,
And
but
that's
that's the other way. So the way that they would have went would have been longer because they would have went down. They would have followed the Jordan River.
Right. No, I'm
which
with
would have
you.
went down
I'm
and
with
then
you.
back up. So it was a long way. So my point,
Yeah.
I think my point in saying that is that our society of waking up in the morning, having our coffee, getting in our car, going and sitting at a desk, and then having coffee again, and then doing your work and then driving home. It's not doing us any good,
Yeah. That doggone Starbucks, though, it's so, it gets you, man. I'm telling you. It's just the taste, the sweet, the sugar, the caffeine high. I mean, man, it's like a drug, man.
Have you ever walked like 5 miles in undeveloped land?
Oh, gosh.
It's like,
That's hard.
it's insane. You might as well walk 100 miles
Yeah.
on a road. It's insane. So could you imagine biblical times? they didn't have like insanely good roads and systems to like they were trudging through like treacherous land. It's pretty crazy to think about.
Is there anything about brown noise?
Brown noise?
Yeah, I couldn't sleep with brown noise. Oh
No?
my gosh.
What's brown noise?
Okay, so it's
I've heard of white noise.
well, white
No,
noise
brown
apparently
noise.
is not good for you.
I've heard of brown nose, but not brown noise.
You haven't been watching the same commercials we have.
But we started sleeping with brown noise for the past year now.
What is it?
I don't know if
Wait,
there's a
so, but
difference,
what is
but I
brown
do
noise?
sleep.
It's
It's
just-
just a type of think of white noise just a
You
little
know
bit
what?
different.
Hey, pull up brown noise for him. Pull it up.
While you guys are doing that, I did fact check myself, and it says, at least according to Google, that they would have walked 20 to 25 miles.
I
a day,
like that.
which is still an
That's a
insane
lot of
amount,
that's a lot
right?
of miles.
Not
Yeah.
80. So I don't know. I was
Well-
I literally was thinking of wolves.
Going back to Gennaro.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Gennaro. See, I am born somewhat. Well, let me rephrase all that. I tend to worry more than I should, but as a leader of the household,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to hear what's going on in the house at night.
Yeah.
And so brown noise would drive me nuts
Really?
because I wouldn't be able to hear if somebody came in, if my car alarm went off.
Yeah.
So give them a demonstration. Put it in the microphone.
This is
It's like James Brown.
No, listen.
With VerboCare.
That's not it.
oh, that's
That's
Guys,
not it.
We are now sponsored by Verbo.
this is
Verbo, if you can see
Here,
this.
listen. That's brown noise.
Sounds like a fan. Sounds like my fan's on in
kind
my
of
room.
yeah, kind of.
Why don't you just put a fan in your room?
So we've been
Some people
sleeping,
do.
I sleep with a fan
Yeah.
in the winter.
Well, we've been sleeping with that, and now I can't sleep without it.
That's what they say.
I have to have noise.
My
I
kids
have
do
to
it.
have it.
Some of my kids, my grandkids, they sleep with brown noise.
Mm.
And
I didn't know. It's just fan noise though, because I have to have a fan on all the time because I like the sound of the fan.
But also with the walking, we started walking more, especially on the weekends, just around our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it helps our sleep necessarily, but it for sure makes me feel good.
Yeah. It's
know?
good to be out and
Yeah.
about. It really
And
is.
Maybe it's a mixture of that and being in the sun.
yeah, it's a mixture of things. I think so. I've started running a lot, and I haven't ran all my life. I have your mother go down and drop me off in the slums down in Bakersfield at about midnight, and I run home.
Do you?
I ever leave me?
No. I did say though, the day that we had the Bakersfield Marathon.
There's no slums in Bakersfield. What am I saying?
No. The day we had the Bakersfield Marathon, I said, yeah, there's also an East Side Marathon. I said, I saw a guy running from the cops over there. I was like, and he won. He beat the guy, and he's in shape. You know, it is interesting when you look at like prisoners. Usually they're not in bad shape because they're just working out all the time. You know what I mean? And running from each other probably, but you know, it's interesting how they have more time, I guess.
Here's something that was on the news today, and I'm wondering if there's some reason they're doing this. But it says automatic registration for the U.S. military draft-eligible men to begin in December.
Oh,
They're going to register you automatically.
Yeah, but
Are we going to ever bring the draft back?
I
That's my
saw
question.
that, and all it is they're just automating. They're automating selective service, which is something we all had to sign up for.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I could see it coming someday. If we start sending a lot of soldiers somewhere, I can just see this government possibly at a certain time reinstating the draft.
I won't rule out anything with this government. you know?
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't overly surprise me.
Yeah.
The draft. Of course, I was in the draft age, and I told you the year or two, or the year I was drafted. I don't know if they did it for 2 years or whatever, but they decided to take birth dates and then draw out your birth date, and they gave numbers to all of these 365. There's numbers. Anyway, long story short, they pulled out my number, and I was number 25 out of the bunch. And so right away I knew I'm going. I'm done. I went and tried to get in college because I was going to anyway, but I got drafted. And I'm with you, Josh, and probably both of you, Vince and Gennaro. I don't foresee the need for a draft, but with this government, I just don't know. And now that would concern you because you got 2 boys.
Yeah, well, yeah. And I can see them going to what Israel does, and it's a mandatory.
There you go.
You have
2
to
years.
do 2 years. It wouldn't shock me at all if they instated that. So
This
who knows?
government seems to like to do a lot of radical things,
Mm-hmm.
and they're hanging out with Israel a lot,
Yeah.
and that'd be good and bad, but when you're a parent, your kid getting drafted, I can imagine what my parents' reaction was when they heard Ronnie got drafted. Hey, Ronnie can't even make his own bed in the morning. And my dad probably said, man, when he shoots crazy, Yeah, I'm sure they worried. And it could include girls too, because it does in Israel in some places.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what stress this causes to parents when their kids, 18, 19, go over to another country and have to fight in a war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's
think
not-
about it. If your girls were
okay.
drafted, your kids were drafted, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
So I just saw that and thought, is there some kind of,
Let's be honest. We've given our government too much control. That's just the truth.
have we given it to them or they just took it?
I don't know. I guess you could fight. I guess I
Just-
read this thing online today, and this is not me or any of us, but there are a number of Americans that are refusing to pay taxes right now as a protest. And, maybe they're just using it as an excuse. I don't know. But I'm like, man, that's wild. But then thinking about our history as a country, that was something they did at the beginning. They taxed their breakfast tea, bro.
In all fairness, though, I think most of the things the government's doing right now, the policies, a lot of them are good. Some of them we don't agree with, but I think a lot of them are good.
The fraud's frustrating. Did you know that not to get too off on this tax thing, but if you have been involved in any illegal activity this year, the IRS demands that you claim that income as bribes or like any illegal drug sales or gun sales.
Are you
anything
serious?
Like that. I'm 100% serious.
Then they're going to arrest you or what?
No, they just want the money. Yeah.
That is wild.
They're like, you sold drugs this year. Just pay your taxes and we're good.
Yeah.
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 It's pretty good.
Well, I have another one. I want to quiz you guys on this, and then I want to do one more, and then we'll get to our topic. But this fast food chain was just crowned the best burger in the U.S. What do you think it is?
Shake Shack.
Oh, man. That's tough because the
The only reason I'm
South.
saying
The
that is because
best
someone yesterday said
burger
that.
in the
and
U.S.
I was like, oh,
Well, what do you think it is? It surprised me.
not in.
I mean, everybody loves In-N-Out.
I would say Californians would all say In-N-Out, but
Right.
It's Five Guys,
Oh, wow.
Five guys.
really,
and we have one. I don't think I've ever been there.
So
had one.
It's like,
it closed down.
Oh, it closed down on Rosedale.
it was
Yeah.
too expensive.
There was
yeah.
another one at the mall.
Oh, maybe that's still there.
It was-
Those
it was
those
really
burgers are
Just
expensive.
now I want to go back and try Five Guys.
Their burgers are
Isn't
pretty
that the
good.
place where you can go in and you kind of construct your own hamburger?
Right.
You can put jalapenos on it,
Mhm.
and on and on and on.
And then they put a cup with fries,
Oh, really?
and then they put it in a bag, and then add more fries.
Huh.
Wow.
Interesting.
Then it's $50.
I mean, I don't know how you can. How can
Yeah.
you beat In-N-Out Burger?
Well, I have to choose between Five Guys and pay my taxes. Apparently,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
No.
go to In-N-Out tonight.
you
Josh,
can't.
In-N-Out's
You
Stop me
can't
wrong.
beat In-N-Out.
I
The
did.
prices.
No, I don't know if you can.
No,
I went
the
there last
prices
night
are
with
I
the
know.
girls,
You
and it
just-
was kind
you
of
got me
amazing.
thinking.
Did I plant the seed? I'm sorry.
Oh, now I
sorry.
can't get rid of it.
It was delicious.
The last one I want to
Lettuce
look at,
wraps
and then
is
we'll
so
get
good.
to our topic. But I thought this is I haven't read it yet, but I like the topic. They're talking about street smarts. BuzzFeed is, and people with street smarts are revealing their vital everyday safety tips that could save your life. And I just find stuff like that interesting. Some people think that I go too far, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, and I always will. Now I like this first one. Never carry your valuables in a backpack. Backpack purses are a huge no, too. My elementary and middle school years were spent in the tourist traps of Florida. We learned how easily someone can steal things from a backpack while you're standing even. You won't even feel it. I never thought of that.
I think I would notice. Maybe we're talking about places that are highly crowded. Like there's a lot of foot traffic, like New York City or something.
Well, say you were standing in a bus line. I wouldn't feel it if somebody got in my backpack,
I
probably.
guess if you're crammed in like that, but I just don't like crammed in spaces.
Well, have you seen how they do it? Where they yell like, "Oh, pickpocket, pickpocket!" But how they do it is they'll wear like it looks like a robe, and the women will come, and so their hands are right by the front, and they'll just go and it takes them seconds.
I wonder if they're
walk-
claiming that on their taxes,
Yeah.
the income. That's what I want to know.
These pickpocketers, they can get really good.
Oh yeah,
Have you watched them on TV? They get the guys. They get stuff off these other people that
Sleight
on
of hand.
TV, and they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Now I did just the reversal though. You got some stuff stolen out of your truck,
Yeah.
and
Recently?
I
I don't want to talk about it.
okay.
No, it's fine. You can talk about it, but
No.
don't say what it was. I don't.
No, I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is, I used to lock up some valuables in my glove compartment. I thought that was safe. Thought they can't get in there, but I guess they can.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm putting my valuables in my backpack. Even when I go in the gym, carrying my backpack with me.
Mm-hmm.
And put an Apple AirTag in your backpack. Put
Yeah.
it just put
Oh,
it
that's
somewhere deep
great.
in there
I know.
because
That's
the-
great.
that'll just save you just the headache of if somebody does pick up your bag in the gym,
Yeah.
they can't get too far.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
Sew it in
You
there.
should have
Yeah.
written this in here and submitted it.
I should have.
I'm going to put one on my wife.
In her shoes.
Yeah, her
A secret
shoes.
compartment. I'm sure people do.
Yeah, with kids, I mean, that's not
Yeah.
a bad idea. You know, it's
Yeah.
terrible
now,
to think
now
about
listen to
something
this.
happening.
Listen to this one. That when you're alone, don't ever get into the back seat of a ride share. You don't want to find out that back seat child locks are on and you can't get out.
That's
Yeah.
what you do, though.
Huh?
So when you're by yourself, you get in the front seat. All right, man.
And maybe ask them, do you have child locks on the back
Oh,
seat?
I've gotten in front seat of like an Uber,
Yeah.
like a
Well, I'll tell you a terrible Uber story. I got my identity stolen this year, actually. I didn't know, and they sent me a W-2 from or 1099. What are they? Are they?
1099. Yeah.
From Uber, saying that I made 15 grand last
Working
year.
for Uber.
What
working-
country were you working in?
working in this country. So what was crazy is somebody had to steal my identity. They had to make a fake ID, right, for me because they had
Right.
to upload ID.
Yep.
And they had to show that I paid for insurance,
Wow.
which I didn't pay for Uber insurance 'cause I didn't do an Uber. And then they falsified the Uber account. So the way that they fixed it, I wasn't able to talk to anybody at Uber because you can't unless you like I was literally thinking about driving to San Francisco and just like waiting, just like
Yeah.
standing there. And that wouldn't have done any good. But you literally can't talk to anybody. So they have a special webpage that you go on and you just tell them. And what they do to fix it is they send you another 1099 that's zeroed out. That's
Wow.
how they fix it.
Wow.
But the scary thing about it is, for me, it's scary because I know that my identity's out there, which is terrible. So if you do get picked up by a Josh Vietti that looks a little different than me, at least give him a good review. But the scariest part is that, you don't know who's picking you up. You have
Right.
no
Yeah.
idea who's picking you up.
Yeah.
And so, it's wild times we live in right now. You know
That's
what I mean?
terrifying.
This is how the mark of the beast comes back around, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
because they're just like, oh, you don't want to have identity theft anymore. Just put this little chip right in your hand or your forehead.
Somebody said they were in, I don't know where
they get you,
I
bro.
don't know where they were at, but they saw somebody in front of them use their hand for their groceries.
Oh, you can do
That's what they said.
Oh,
Microchip.
like your thumb,
Thumb.
like
Your
your
thumb
Biometric.
your prints.
It's biometric scanning. Yeah.
like at the airport?
I don't know where they were at.
I don't know. I know they have
Whole
biometric
Foods had it
scanning.
for a
Yeah, I
while.
was gonna say they had biometric scans at different places.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that you can always set off your car alarm with your key fob if something happens in a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And I tell my wife that all the time. But also, they say that if you're a woman, especially, and you're out and some situation happens, you can yell fire as loud as you can. And that always gets people's attention, always.
Yeah.
Um,
Or help.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't think so, huh?
I think fire would be more valuable. Maybe help, it might work. But I like this one. Always walk around your car and check the tires. The one time I didn't do this, someone had deliberately put a glass bottle in front of one of my tires,
Oh wow.
and it broke. And
Huh.
Just
for fun, or were they trying to
I
steal
don't know.
something from
I
them?
really don't know.
Wow.
But I never thought
Jeez
about that.
Louise, man.
And then this is a good one, especially my wife. She's so small. I tell her sometimes, hold on to your purse and everything when you're in a mall or in Walmart or Target or whatever. But it says, if you're sitting in a public place like a mall and you have a bag, loop it into your foot or arm so it's harder to get stolen. course, my wife's so small, they just drag her
They
off.
take her too, yeah.
They just take her.
That's terrible.
So, and then here's a good one. I grew up in Seattle and traveled all over the city, carry a sock filled with coins.
What?
It's a great weapon.
Oh, wow.
It's a great weapon.
Guess so. That's prison
When
style
when
right there,
When you're
dude.
done eating your popsicle, carve it out as a knife and make a shiv. It's like, what?
Listen,
I'm
kids.
going to stab you with this.
Listen,
sock
kids.
full
Here's how
of
you survive
coins?
the city park.
I'll stab you with my popsicle.
Yeah.
Jeez
Oh
Louise.
man, that's crazy. I will say, going to the pop tire one, there has been a lot more scams where people are pretending to be broke down and then they get you, and so you have to be aware of that. You know, sometimes
That's
you
terrible.
you want to
end up
help
getting the
everyone.
people that are like
Yeah.
that are down to help.
Yeah,
I know.
you want to pull over and help somebody, but now you have to be a little leery of it because you could end up being the victim.
I always think of like when I think about being a victim, I always think of the story in the Bible where King David ends up with the Philistines, and he has to act.
Insane.
Yeah, like he's
Fake
he
insanity.
had to act crazy, and I'm
He was
like
slobbering all over
I always
himself.
I always thought to myself, that's my game plan.
Act insane.
Would they have put that in the Bible if the Bible was a made up book, as some skeptics say? You wouldn't have that about your
No,
hero,
right? It's a weird story, but it's interesting.
Yeah,
He was a go getter. He was a fighter. That guy.
I tell you.
That's what you do, though, man. Yeah, crazy.
That's probably one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character in the Bible, is David. He could quote poetry, he could write poetry, he could sing, he could do everything, and then he could kick your butt
Yeah, tougher
in a
than
war. I mean, I like
bag of
this
nails,
guy.
man.
Can I say that? I'm a pastor. I think I can say that.
Yeah.
I think you can. You're not a pastor. You're a pastor from Bakersfield,
There you go.
which people all over the country have just learned that the San Joaquin's a little different than the rest of California.
Mhm.
San Joaquin Valley.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah,
I
it's different.
sometimes, and I shouldn't, because I love Bakersfield. I really do. I love the people here. I just can't say enough good things, but kind of make fun of myself. I was someplace the other day, a very sophisticated city, and I said, I'm Bakersfield. And they laughed, and I said, we're with it. Well, the other day, cop pulled over one of my friends and said, you got any ID? And he said, about what? And they laughed. They thought it was funny. But I shouldn't do that because Bakersfield's a great city.
It's the best.
It's a good city.
The people here,
People are just tops.
unmatched, and they're not always the friendliest if you like see them on the street. But they're the type of people that would like literally give their
Yeah.
shirt to you off their back. Like they really are,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about the city.
I love
I've
the
never
people
seen anything
here.
like it.
Yeah.
Best people.
Yep.
If you suspect someone is following you, make 3 consecutive right turns. If they're still behind you, you're being followed. Why?
Smart.
Why 3 right turns?
Because it
Just go around a circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because nobody does that.
Yeah. Okay. And a friend of mine did this the other day, not too long ago. It says, my husband is a retired 30-year law enforcement officer. He always told our daughter and me, if you're walking and you feel someone is following you, turn around and yell, stop right there. It puts him off guard, and they'll most likely make a quick getaway. A friend of mine did that just not too long ago. Says she was going to her car, and guy was following her real close. She says, stop right there. Don't come any closer. And it caught him by surprise, and he left. Of course, it's kind of embarrassing if you weren't following him,
You're like, what did I do?
Yeah, sure. I was just going to my car next to yours,
Oh, that's the worst though. When you're like getting this I'm a fast walker. So like I'll be parking at Target and then there's people going in. And so you're just walking faster than everyone. So I'll walk up on people not thinking like, and they turn around super fast. Like, like
What's this guy doing?
I just smile like, I'm just going to my place faster.
Do you guys like when you're out in public, like if you're at Target or if you're, just walking around, do you pay attention to your surroundings?
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
guys constantly?
I try now.
I do.
used to not. I used to be on my phone.
Yeah,
way
I
too
think
much.
being raised by you, Dad.
I know. I know.
You taught me to
I know.
borderline be a little paranoid.
I
but,
tell
like,
your
look
mother
around.
all the time. A guy, you don't have to as much as a woman, but I tell your mother all the time. I said, hey, be, very cognizant of your surroundings. And this is a really good one now. Again, it says, I will play the what if game in my head. And he goes on and explains the situations, or she or whoever's writing this. But like the other day, I was on the Porterville Highway, really, really a dangerous road. A lot of accidents there, head-ons. And I'm doing this a lot when I'm on roads like that. I go, okay, now if someone's passing on this 2-lane, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the side going, do I have room to go here? Do I go here? And I think the what-if game, to a degree, is good.
It drives my wife crazy. And I think I got this from you, like Josh said.
Both of you guys, man, you got it from me.
Well, I always think worst case scenario. So my wife will be like, she'll say something. I'm like, well, this, and this could happen. Where do you even come up with this stuff? Like,
From Pastor Ron?
Yeah.
She's like, I just come up with the
But
crazy.
you know my way
scenarios.
too. Like, remember that day we were at a restaurant and I got on my health thing and I said, you know what? Do you know those eggs? Do you know the yellow part's going to be a chick? And it's probably part way there right now. You go, yeah, is that true? That's true. I wouldn't eat that yellow. Oh man, and I go on and really build it up. And then I ask you, if you're not going to eat your eggs, can I have them?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So now this one is another one that I employ all the time. I've done this for years. Walking and acting confident is the key. When you're in situations where you think you could be in a dangerous situation, especially, and maybe someone is following you that looks like they're up to no good. And I know I'm older, but I try to walk as confident as I can. And, I was in a situation years ago I'll never forget. And it was a bad situation. And I thought, oh, no. And I started staring at these guys and reaching my hand in and left it in like I had it on a gun. And so I think there's something to be said about these issues. I don't know. Do you believe in that? Walk confident? I mean, if you're up to something no good and you want to victimize someone, you might pick the weaker person.
Yeah.
I mean, is there truth in that?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, there's others, but I don't want to keep going on it. But I like this kind of stuff. I really do. And park under a pole light in a parking lot.
Yeah.
So when you come out to your car, street smarts.
If anybody's going to walk up to you and try to rob you or attack you, they're in a bad spot in life and they're already past the point of thinking clearly. So you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself, I think, and your family.
Well, you know what? I think there's a fine line, and I know I might have crossed it in times according to you guys probably, but I think there is a fine point about being a worrywart, and being a Debbie Downer and all that kind of stuff. And just using common sense. It is my opinion that most Americans don't use enough common sense.
Yeah.
We're so afraid of being branded, that we don't.
Well, we're also pastors, and pastor means shepherd. And the shepherd, even thinking about David as starting off as a shepherd, he was looking for threats. He was paying attention to what could hurt the flock, too. And I think that there's something to be said about that. Like, we're supposed to be looking out for people too.
Well, I've had three
in a lot of ways.
I've had 3 death threats.
Yeah,
and so I do. The other night I felt bad. There was a car parked out in front of my house. In fact, it wasn't the other night. It was some time ago, right in the midst of a death threat, where a guy told me, "I know where you live. I'm coming for you, and these are all the things I'm going to do."
Those are always fun.
And I went to go to bed, and there was a car parked out front of my house, right directly in front. And my wife said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Going out there and finding out what they're doing before I go to bed." And I felt bad because it's too young. Really good young kids parked out there, a girl and a guy.
Yeah.
And they were talking, and I think I scared the daylights out of them.
It's all right.
I said, "Oh, that's cool. I just want to know who you were."
And they'll have that story forever. It's good for them.
Don't park in front of Pastor Ron's house.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's go back. We didn't get finished, I don't think, with the stress thing last week. And you want to pick it up?
Yeah, I can say something about it.
Okay.
I don't remember if I said this last week or not, but this has kind of been a soapbox of mine lately. As some of you guys may or may not know, I have an education in mental health, and I am working towards licensure to be a therapist. And I've learned a lot about stress and anxiety. And one of the most surprising things that I've learned about is, and this is, I think, something people overlook, is that it's not the 2 or 3 big events in life that cause stress in our lives as much as it is the hundreds of things that happen in our lives on a normal like weekly basis, you know. So there's something called allostatic load, okay? And I gotta go back, and I had this pulled up a second ago, but allostatic load is a culmination of all the stressors in your life.
Excuse me.
And they add up on top of each other, and they compound your stress. So you could look at any one particular situation and say like, oh, you know, I'm a little worried about finances. Okay, no big deal. That's not like the biggest deal in the world. That's nothing that should keep you up over all night. You know, that's something you can work on and focus on. Okay, so that's one thing. Well, I'm also at the same time, I'm having marriage problems. Okay, all right. So that's two things. I'm also worried about my health. Like my doctor said that my numbers aren't great. Okay, that's three things. There's a little bit of pressure at work. Okay, that's four things. Those things stack upon each other, and they cause daily stress, and you don't even realize where it's coming from, but you're giving energy to all of these problems that don't have an immediate solution,
Right.
and it's causing a panic inside of you. It's causing your body to push out those chemicals
Right.
that, you know, would be useful for running away from danger or fighting, you know, fight or flight, that sort of thing. And so people don't realize like how important it is to, in a way, schedule your worries and stresses and say, okay, like here's 5 things right now I can do today. I can focus on one of those things, but the rest, I'm going to decide not to worry about those, and I'll look at it again tomorrow. Like I'll schedule it in,
Yeah.
and then I'll think about it, and then I'll prioritize. And then like, that's the best way to fight stress in our modern day with all these different things.
I think, you know, one of the things I know for myself personally, when you think, I love what you're saying because these things compound. But sometimes when they compound, it's not that you're not aware of them. It's just there's so many things compounding that you don't end up taking care of any of them.
Right.
Because there's too many.
Too much.
It's too
And
much.
then you
to
throw
take
your
care-
hands in the
Then
air.
you throw your hands in the
Right.
air because it's like, tackling this one thing isn't going to do me any good
Right.
today because I have 20 more things on the table. And so I think a lot of people get caught there that because the stress has become too much, they don't do anything about it, and they let it keep compounding and compounding and
Yeah.
compounding, where then all of a sudden they're sick.
Well, that's why so many people like that struggle with anxiety also struggle with depression, because the anxiety gets so much that you just throw your hands up in the air and you're like, well, I don't care about any of it then. And you kind of go into a depressive state, right? And so you kind of have to, a little bit of pressure is good,
Right.
and it's normal.
Right.
You know, taxes, yes, of course, we have to pay taxes. So that's a stress. That's a normal stress. I know
Right.
it's going to come every single year, but it shocks me when it does. You know what I mean?
And when you procrastinate,
When you procrastinate,
it
yeah.
becomes worse, right?
Becomes
when you
worse.
don't take care of something,
When you're not planning.
when you're not planning,
Yep.
because you let a lot of stuff stack up,
Right.
it becomes worse.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I feel like the level of intensity that I put towards each of my problems is fairly high. So like I work hard on
Equal
one
amount
thing.
of energy, yeah.
But then what happens is when I do have a little bit of downtime, which I should probably be working, like doing light work toward a problem,
Yes, right.
I choose not to even do that because, I've been working so hard. I need to rest. I need to like chill. You know what I mean? But if you can pace yourself in your level of work and your level of stress and how you handle it, it's going to be a lot better.
Well, you know, somebody not too long ago told me I was praying for you a lot. And I feel like I'm supposed to tell you that you've got to stop those moments of rush. Those, you know,
Yeah.
cause a lot of adrenaline.
Right.
And I thought about it, and I thought, I'm doing all these other little stressful things, and that could be the final breaking point.
Yeah.
Because I find myself being late a lot. That's a bad habit I'm trying to correct. But at the last minute, I'm going, I got to run. I got to get there. And I think that's when a lot of people might kill over of a heart attack, you know, because all the other stresses are there, the little ones, and they're piling up.
Yeah.
And that could be it. So we know that stress is the root of so many problems.
Yeah, it is.
You know, today in our Bible study, we had a Bible study this morning, and we read something very interesting. I'll just kind of paraphrase instead of reading it, but Paul is talking, and he says, you know, he said, I want to say something to you, and I'm writing this with tears. I mean, this guy was at a different level. I mean, he's so concerned about these Christians that he's weeping as he writes them. I mean, that's really a deep level. And he said, there's these people among you, and he says they're really enemies of the cross. And he says they're people who put confidence in worldly things, in fleshy things, and they're in this thing to fulfill their own appetites. And I think after we read it, I said, I'm not so sure he isn't talking about these, what we know today as the gospel of prosperity, these guys. And anyway, I think he catches himself. After a few verses later, he says, okay, now I'm going to tell you, don't be anxious for anything. In other words, stop worrying. Instead of worrying, go to God. And I think he found himself kind of worrying about this situation, going, these are enemies of the cross and they're among you. I'm afraid they're really going to mess up your Christianity. I mean, and I'll take a little side note here, a little side trail here, rabbit hole thing. But, you know, I was reading the other day, there's a pastor in the United States they're saying he's worth at least $300 to $400 million to $700 million.
Wow.
A pastor, and he's got planes and all this stuff. So we know these people are there. I mean, some people, commentators, look at this verse and say, what he's saying, among you there's false prophets, and I'm warning you that they're enemies of the cross. That's what he said. That was his wording. They're enemies of the cross, and they're among you. Well, if they were false prophets, he wouldn't have to tell us that. We would know they're enemies of the cross. I think these people are hiding out in our churches. And for example, there was a church not far from us that brought this prosperity guy every year. And I've actually heard him say this. He says, you know what? I got a Rolex on. I'm going to pass it around to these men at a men's conference. A lot of you have never seen a real Rolex. That's mine. I make more money than most professional athletes. He's bragging on it and everything. And obviously we know that that's a bad character. But I think Paul was so worked up that these people, I'll use, for lack of a better phrase, these prosperity people were going to get to him. And these people had a different doctrine. And I think he found himself worrying, and I think he caught himself a few verses later when we said, hey, you know, don't be anxious for anything, but go to the Father in prayer because he loves you. And he says that. And so, you know, I want to just throw something at you here. I think God is saying through Paul to us that worrying is a sin. It's a sin. I'm your father. Come on. What would you guys think if you had a child and you go to pray with them every night, like for weeks, and they go, Dad, I can't sleep. You're never going to leave mommy, are you? Dad, you're never going to leave mommy. Dad, you know, will we have food on the table tomorrow? You're going to have a job and we'll always have money. And you would soothe them. But what if that happened week after week? Wouldn't you probably take them to a doctor and say, something's wrong with my kid? We got to treat them. Do you think some Christians are not healthy because they worry when they have a heavenly Father that looks out for them? Do you think we can fit that into a Bible concept or teaching here? That, and I know we can't have God do everything, but he does say through Paul, you know, and he's kind of like in a command form.
Right.
You know, I don't want you to worry about anything. I want you to come to me with those things in prayer.
Yeah.
Anything you're anxious about, bring it to me.
So I recently heard a guy who isn't coming from, as far as I know, not coming from a faith perspective. He's kind of a self-help kind of guy. But it made a lot of sense what he said. He said, life is going to be hard no matter what. He said, so some of you guys are worried, like if you are single, you're like, it's hard being single. It's hard being alone. So I need a spouse. Well, it's also hard being married. There's a level of difficulty in relationships.
You're trading one for the other.
So you're choosing which hard you're going to do, you know? And I think looking at life, and I think this is biblical, I really do. It says, Jesus said, take up your cross and follow me, right? When he said that, that signified that life is going to be not easy,
Right.
but rewarding at the same time. And so a pastor that I heard recently kind of said a similar thing. He said that you're going to suffer no matter what. So you can either suffer with God or without God. That's your choice. And I think that's the failure that we have in our American church these days is we don't preach, and we don't preach it well. We don't preach the goodness of suffering. Like James talks about, consider it pure joy,
Right.
when you encounter various trials, because the idea is that those trials are going to produce a strength inside of you, an endurance inside of you. That really is the way life works. That's how growth works. And the more I was just talking to Vince about this week, and I was like, I feel like I'm barely discovering the gospel right now. Like, I feel like at 45, I'm barely discovering it. And I'm understanding that it's through the pressure and the hardships of life that you grow. But that's also the beauty of it. That's also where you find God. That's where you find that's where, like, if you want to stay close to God, commit yourself to something hard. You know what I mean? Or commit yourself to something that you know that you should be committing to. You know, we all have those things. We all have those dreams, those desires, those goals. The people that end up being the most successful in life are those that continually committing themselves to the hard things, because even if they quote unquote fail, right, compared to the world's view of success, they are actually succeeding by becoming stronger and wiser and more having more endurance and having more of an ability to handle the next thing. And so when you continually kind of throw your hat on the fence, like we always said, we always joked around as that was our mantra in the church, you know, and growing the church is just, let's overcommit. You throw your hat on the fence, you got to jump the fence to get it, right? That's like that whole Sandlot movie thing.
It came from McKinney illustrations, where that came from.
Okay, yeah. And so it's just commit, and then do your best.
But Josh, I'm not saying, obviously, don't address your problems and go get help for them or whatever, or come up with a plan.
You just have to reframe them. You have to see them differently.
You can't just think about them negatively over and over and over. Worrying, as we define it today, is unproductive alone.
Rumination is a major cause of depression.
Yeah.
Major cause.
And rumination can be a positive too. That's meditation, kind of like.
Sure.
So it can be positive and a negative side also. But, I think that worrying alone is unproductive. You might be stressed out about something, and stress can be either good or bad for a while, but you're working through a solution. When I talk about worrying, I'm talking about playing the problem over and over and over without even bothering to try to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
And I think that's worrying.
What's that scripture where I think Paul wrote it, where it basically talks about how God will give you a way out in with every sin, every temptation, all these things.
Yeah.
And so I think of temptation. There's the obvious, temptation to do something terrible or whatever, but there's also temptation to do nothing. That's a temptation, right? Or a temptation to, like you said, continue to worry about it without any action. Temptation to avoid, like that's a temptation. Avoidance is one of the biggest things too that people deal with, because like you said, like remember we're talking about the allostatic load. It becomes too much, so you avoid. It's like, oh, it's too much. I can't even handle this. So why try? And then all of a sudden you're a victim, and all of a sudden everyone's against you, and all of a sudden it's like, and I've went through this myself. I've went through this where I started blaming other people for my own inability to tackle the things that are right in front of me. You have to do that. You just have to do that.
I think it becomes paralyzing, like I said, though, for people, because they are, for you talked about this on a podcast a while back and maybe on a Sunday message, but making the wrong choice throws people off. Like if they come to a place where they're like, I want to do something about it, but if I do something about it, it may lead to X, Y, Z. Again, it goes with the worry, what you're talking about, Pastor, right? Like they're worried so much about the outcome of the thing that they're not doing anything about it, because they think that if they do a certain thing, they're projecting what will happen.
Yeah.
And they don't know because they haven't done it.
Right.
And so that's what's keeping them from making any movement or action.
One thing I've noticed too about my own self, and this might be true for others, is that my predictor is not very good. You know what I mean? And often Often when I predict that something's going to be negative, which is what I tend to do,
Yeah.
it ends up not being so bad.
You know what's weird is I feel like I have a good predictor. I hate to say, that sounds weird to say. Like, I feel like I'm pretty aware of things. Like, I can go, okay, this is probably the outcome of this. And I do overthink it. Like, I'm not saying I'm not an overthinker, but I'm like, I can look at a bunch of things and go like, this is probably the outcome of this. So I don't know if so much, because you have to be aware.
Yeah.
Like, you can't not be self-aware where you're like, well, because I didn't go to the gym, I'm unhealthy. And that I can tell you right now that if I don't start going to the gym more, then this is, I can predict where my health is going.
Yeah.
If I don't
There
go
are
to the
natural
gym.
laws.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I'm just saying too, like, when you get into a place where if you're at work and you're late to work every day, I can predict that your boss is eventually going to talk to you because you've been late. So I'm just saying, like, you're stressed about your boss being upset about you because you've been late.
Well, I think I'm talking about more in terms of like catastrophizing, like worst case scenario.
Right, but for a lot of people, their worst case scenario is like, am I going to lose my job? Where's my next paycheck going to come from? Where, is my wife cheating on me? Am I going to make it? It's like all these things that we have in our head that we're
then it
constantly
becomes
playing.
a self-fulfilling prophecy because
you're not doing
worry
the
yourself
work.
into the danger zone.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that you're so caught up on the what if this instead of fixing the what if.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of that poem. Was it a Dr. Seuss, What Ifs or something? But again, worrying alone, the way we define it today, just worry, that's not going to change anything. That's unproductive.
Yeah.
Again, something bad happens to me today, I'll probably start working through it. And I might find myself worrying, going, oh, man, what if this happens? What if this happens? And sometimes I need to sit down, and I work best when I have an ink pen in my hand, as you see now. And I'll start, working through the things that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a little different than worrying. I'm sitting here and I'm writing out what I can do. I'm working through the problem.
Well, there's different levels of worry and anxiety too.
Right.
I think like worrying about something could just be a little gnaw at you. It could just be kind of like it's just bothering me, a kind of a dark cloud that carries. But then there's other people that full on have PTSD from actual trauma. Like they've had major trauma. And so when anything comes along that looks like the thing that caused the trauma, they will go flat out into panic mode. And so if that's you, like you need to get help. You need to get like therapy and
Yeah, but let's go back to what we're taught. When you find yourself worrying, it seems to say in Philippians that you need to bring the problem to God because, if we ask for wisdom, he says he'll give it to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we bring it to God, we're doing several things. We're asking for his help with the problem. We're asking for wisdom. And I think that's one of the first steps in preparing ourselves to do something about the thing we're worrying about, taking it to God. We say all the time that Jesus is our Savior, and he's saving us all the time. Well, is this particular problem too big for him? Or are you saying, oh, he can't handle this? God's up in heaven scratching his head going, yeah, I thought I could do everything, but this one I just don't know about.
No, obviously it's not. God can handle anything and everything. I think the problem is when we limit ourselves and we limit our ability to connect with them. And I think that does happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the doubt kicks in. That's where over worrying kicks in. That's where overthinking kicks in. That just keeps you from doing the basic things you need to do. It's like the analogy would be like, oh, Jesus, what if Jesus had a house across the street from you? Right? He lived in a house across the street from you, but every day you looked out and there's like, it's just a little too much traffic.
Right.
I can't cross that street today.
Yeah.
A little too much traffic. And that's what happens is that traffic is like where the mental health part kicks in of like, no, you need to be disciplined. You need to just do the thing that you're avoiding.
Right.
Do what you got to do.
Right.
And you'll find the truth. You'll find what you need to find,
The Lord's Prayer, I think it's really one of the things that always levels me or helps me is when it says, give me today my daily bread. Like it focuses in on today.
Just today. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of our worry has to do with what's going to happen tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like handle today what you can handle today.
If you break down, we probably need to do that again on a Sunday. I might even talk about that on Sunday.
The Lord's Prayer.
Breaking it down again.
So good.
Of just the.
But think about give me today my daily bread. Like when your car's on E, you're smart enough to look at the meter and go like, okay, like I need to go to the next gas station. But some of us extend that E-light, right? To like,
right.
oh, I need to get to my next thing. And then
Just yesterday, I did it. I turned it to like the mileage. Oh, I've got 40 miles still. I'm good.
I got, some people extend it to 0.1 mile, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I can make it to the next place. But then you're surprised when you run out of gas because you didn't make it. And so it's like you have to take care of what's in front of you. You can't, if you ignore the dash, it will get you. And when you're, and then you're surprised, you're like, God, why did I run out of gas? Well, it's like, I've given you the warning.
Literally worrying about tomorrow disables you from handling today's problem.
Right. You can't take care of what's in front of you.
Right.
Right.
And then it compounds.
Yeah.
And then
Paul in our study today, he's in prison, and he says it twice. He said, I have no problem repeating stuff, but he says, rejoice in the Lord,
does.
rejoice.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Always.
I talked to the people in the Bible study, and I said, you know what, here's the deal. I said, to rejoice in a problem, you have to change your focus off of the problem and onto God. And you have to maybe work through some things before you do that, but ultimately that's what you want to do. And changing your focus will eliminate the stress. Now, Paul in prison was doing what I've taught before. We see in other people in the Bible's lives. He, instead of rejoicing, what was he doing? He was helping others. He was writing letters to the Philippians, to the Colossians. He was taking the focus off the problem, and when you focus on it, it makes it even bigger. Taking the focus off and just ministering to the needs in front of him. You know, when I had leukemia, and I hate to keep going back to that, but I was given only 3 to 4 years to live. What was I doing? I had prayer lines on Sunday. I was praying for other people who had cancer, and I was trying to minister to other people. And I think that's one of the reasons why I often wondered why, when I look back on that period of my life, those 3 to 4 years when I was told I was dying, why was that some of the happiest years of my life? And it's because instead of worrying, I started just doing God's will more, and I stayed in prayer more than ever before. And I was so focused on Him that the worry didn't have a foothold in my life. You know, you find yourself caught up in other people's problems. Now, I still had to work through the things that I had a tendency to worry about. I had to get a solution to them, but I didn't spend my time, you know, just constantly thinking about them. And so, again, we used to sing a song in the church, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." And I began to look at every angle of that song at one point in time and thought, wait, when we produce joy in the Lord's heart by reacting appropriately to our problems, that becomes our strength. The joy of the Lord is my strength.
Yeah.
And so...
well, you're going to act differently, too, if you're finding joy in God.
Paul, you know, was writing letters. Joseph, when he was in prison, he wasn't worrying about what's going to happen to me, but he was ministering to the needs in front of him. Even Jesus on the cross, it was unbelievable how he wasn't living in the future and he wasn't living in the past. He was sitting there taking care of business on the cross, saying, John, come here, this is now your mother. Mother, this is now your son. And so, you know, I think that there's something to be said about that in the topic of worrying. Change your focus. Find stuff to start praising God for. Get yourself busy. And again, worrying, with the definition I'm using today, is just thinking about the problem over and over again. It's not thinking about the problem and how you're going to solve it. That would be a little different than the worry I'm talking about.
Sure. No, I agree.
So I don't know how much further we want to go with this. I mean, we talked about it last week.
I got to run soon, so probably got to wrap it up. But thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate it. You know, we do this for you guys, so let us know what you're thinking and give us some feedback. We're not making money off of this. We're not doing this as a business. We're not trying to be influencers. We're just trying to give back a little bit of the knowledge that, you know, has come across our way. We've seen a lot of people over the years come through our churches, and we've seen a lot of things work, and we've seen a lot of things disable people. And so that's what we're kind of trying to share. So,
yeah. Well, we love you guys and love to hear from you. So the journey continues.
See you guys.
God bless.
You gotta find your people the ones that make you feel alright. But kind you wanna stay up with all night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.